Before the Imperium, before chaos ruled the warp, before humanity even reached the stars, there was a king who damned his entire species to immortality. This is the story of Szarekh, the Silent King, and the rise, fall, and return of the Necron dynasties. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're diving deep into one of Warhammer 40,000's most tragic and terrifying figures, the Silent King, ruler of the Necrontyr and architect of the Necrons as we know them today. This video will cover who the Silent King was, how the Necrontyr became the Necrons, the war in heaven, why Szarekh vanished, and why his return changes everything. Let's begin. Long before the Imperium, the Necrontyr were a bitter, short-lived species. Their home star bombarded them with lethal radiation, condemning them to short lives filled with pain and disease. They built vast dynasties, towering monuments, and powerful technologies, but they knew one truth above all: they were dying. At the head of this civilization stood Szarekh, the last and greatest ruler of the Necrontyr. Unlike the feuding nobles beneath him, Szarekh unified his people under a single banner, a rare feat in Necrontyr history. But unity alone could not defeat mortality. In their desperation, the Necrontyr encountered godlike beings of living energy, the C'tan, star gods that fed on stellar radiation. The C'tan offered salvation. They promised the Necrontyr immortality, freedom from pain, and bodies of living metal. Szarekh accepted the bargain. Through the process of biotransference, the Necrontyr was stripped of their flesh and souls, their consciousness bound into necrodermis bodies. The price? Their emotions, their individuality, their souls devoured by the C'tan. In saving his people from death, the Silent King damned them to eternal unlife. With their new immortal forms, the Necrons became unstoppable. Under Zarekh's command, they waged a war in heaven against the Old Ones, creators of the Eldar and masters of the warp. Reality itself fractured. The Necrons shattered entire star systems, deployed weapons that rewrote physics, and hunted gods across the galaxy. But eventually, the Silent King realized the truth. The C'tan were not saviors. They were masters. In a final act of defiance, Szarekh united the Necron dynasties once more and turned on the C'tan, shattering them into enslaved shards. This was his redemption and his breaking point. Horrified by what he had done, Szarekh did the unthinkable. He relinquished the throne. He ordered the Necrons into the Great Sleep, entombed in stasis crypts beneath dead worlds, to wait out the rise and fall of younger species. Then the Silent King exiled himself beyond the galaxy, vowing never to rule again. For 60 million years the Necrons slept. The Great Sleep did not go as planned. Time corrupted systems, tombs malfunctioned, minds degraded. When the Necrons began to awaken, they were no longer united. Each dynasty rose alone, ruled by overlords, pharaons, and cryptechs, each pursuing their own vision of Necron supremacy. Some sought to reclaim the galaxy, others descended into madness. A few clung desperately to fading memories of who they once were. The Necrons returned, but without their king. In the current era of Warhammer 40k, Szarekh has returned. He has seen the galaxy beyond the Milky Way, and what he found terrified him. Tyranids, extraterrestrial horrors, threats even the Necrons cannot ignore. Now the Silent King seeks to reunite the dynasties, not as a tyrant, but as a shepherd trying to undo the damage he caused. Whether this is redemption or simply another form of control remains unclear. The Silent King is one of Warhammer 40k's most compelling figures because he's not driven by ambition, but by guilt. The Silent King is a godslayer, a failed savior, a king who regrets his crown, and unlike most characters in 40k, Szarekh learned from his mistakes, even if it took 60 million years. His return signals that the Necrons are no longer a background threat. They are preparing for something far worse. So that is the Silent King and the Necron dynasties, ancient, tragic, and terrifying. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Warhammer lore, hit the like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which faction should I cover next. Until then, guys, remember, the Necrons do not forget, they do not forgive, and their king has returned.